Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a frontier that for, well, hundreds of millions of years seemed totally off limits for life, the sky.
The thing is, the question isn't just how an animal could evolve to soar through the air. It's how this incredible feat happened over and over again, completely on its own.
Yep, that's right. When we really dig into the fossil record, we find that the power of flight didn't just happen once. It evolved count 'em, four totally separate times in creatures that couldn't be more different from each other.
All right, so let's put on our detective hats. We're going to treat this like a scientific cold case, exploring each file one by one to piece together how life, against all odds, managed to conquer the air.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're starting way back, 400 million years ago, with the absolute pioneers of flight, the insects. From there, we'll jump forward in time, meeting each new group of flyers as they show up on the scene. It's like we're solving this puzzle piece by piece. First up, the insects. And let me tell you, their path to flight is maybe the biggest mystery of them all. And here's why. Unlike every other flyer we're going to talk about, insects didn't just repurpose their arms or legs. Nope. They grew an entirely new body part. How does that even happen?
You know, for decades, scientists were basically in a huge fight over this. There were two main camps. One theory, called the Turgle hypothesis, was that the wings just kind of sprouted right out of the insect's back. But the other side, pushing the plural hypothesis, argued, no, they started as little side-bodied limbs that, over generations, slowly moved their way up.
So where did the breakthrough come from? Well, you'll never guess. It wasn't from looking at insects, but at their distant cousins, crustaceans like crabs and shrimp. And to crack this case, scientists had to use a really cool forensic tool called homology. Basically, it's a way of finding similar body parts in different animals that points back to a shared ancestor, like a genetic fingerprint.
Okay, get ready for this, because this is where it all comes together. By comparing the genes, scientists found something amazing. They found that a specific part of a crustacean's leg is genetically the same thing as an insect's backplate. And the smoking gun? They found old, dormant wing-growing genes hiding right there, in the insect's back. So the stunning conclusion is, insect wings aren't a new body part after all. They are super-modified ancestral legs that migrated up, fused to the back, and then grew out into wings. Mind-blowing, right? Case closed. All right, with the insect case solved, let's move on to our next suspects, the reptiles. See, once insects filled the skies, they became this giant flying buffet, and that created this huge evolutionary push for another group to chase them up there.
So for both the pterosaurs, those giant flying reptiles, and the very first birds, the big debate was how they got there. Did they learn to fly from the ground up, running and jumping after prey until they took off? Or was it from the trees down, starting out as gliders, just leaping from branch to branch? And here's a key piece of evidence: Archaeopteryx. This fossil was a huge deal when it was found, just 2 years after Darwin published On the Origin of Species. It was the perfect missing link. It had this weird mix of reptile stuff, like teeth and a long, bony tail, but it also had bird stuff, like feathers and wings, and the way it probably flew, it wasn't flapping like a modern bird, it was more like this strange swimming-style butterfly stroke through the air.
And this is what I love about science. It's always updating. A later discovery of another fossil, this thing called Microraptor, really helped tip the scales. See, it had 4 wings, 2 on its arms and 2 on its legs. And those long leg feathers, they would have made running on the ground almost impossible. So that was some really strong evidence that birds, at least, took that trees-down path to the sky.
Okay, so our story takes a dramatic turn. An asteroid hits, wiping out the dinosaurs and the pterosaurs, and suddenly the skies are empty. A huge power vacuum opens up. And who scrambled to fill it? A group you probably wouldn't expect: mammals. Now, bats came up with a completely different solution for flight. No feathers here. Instead, they evolved something called a patagium. And what that is this incredible membrane of flexible skin stretched between these super long finger bones. It's an engineering marvel, really.
But here's the really interesting part. That unique wing design came with a major trade-off. Bats are unbelievably agile, right? But their breathing system, well, it's just like ours. It's tidal. Air goes in, air goes out. Birds, on the other hand, have this crazy efficient one-way system that keeps their lungs constantly flooded with fresh oxygen. And that fundamental engineering difference is almost certainly why the biggest bats just can't get as big as the biggest birds. Think about it. The wandering albatross has an 11-foot wingspan. No bat even comes close.
Okay, let's step back and look at all the evidence we've gathered. What do we have? We have 4 totally different groups from 4 completely different points in time on 4 separate evolutionary journeys. And yet, they all ended up in the same place, with the same incredible superpower, powered flight.
So when you lay it all out like this, you can really see the pattern, can't you? From an insect's wing made of chitin, to a bat's skin, to a bird's feathers, each group used different materials and followed a different blueprint to get airborne. This is a perfect textbook example of what biologists call convergent evolution. It's where nature gets faced with the same challenge, and independently, it comes up with a similar solution, again and again and again.
You know, when you think about it, what this whole story really shows us is the just relentless creativity of life. It's such a powerful reminder that evolution will always find a way. It will innovate, it will expand, and it will fill every single possible environment, even one as hostile and seemingly impossible as the open sky.
And that really leaves us with one last fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? The sky was once an impossible frontier. So if you give it enough time, what other impossible frontiers will life eventually conquer? It's just a powerful reminder that the story of evolution, well, it is far from over.